Okay, let's dive right into this. Have you ever looked at your life, or just the world around you, and thought, man, there's no way this is all just a coincidence? It's a question that honestly haunts a lot of us. Have you ever felt this deep, sneaking suspicion that there just have to be forces at work out there beyond what our human eyes can actually see? Well, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are exploring a truly fascinating biblical mystery from our source text. We're going to unpack this mind-bending concept of why the unseen, spiritual realm actually controls the physical one, and we'll look at whether these invisible forces are actively at work in our daily lives. Most of us spend our entire lives absolutely laser-focused on the physical world. And who can blame us? We love what we can see, what we can touch, measure, and explain. But what if the physical world simply isn't the highest level of reality? Now, the source notes there is absolutely nothing wrong with appreciating the physical world, but it does pose a direct, almost uncomfortable challenge to our daily perception of what is truly real. So, taking that a step further, what if the visible world is actually heavily influenced by an invisible one? According to the text we're analyzing today, wrapping your head around this specific truth has the power to completely transform the way you see your own life. It reframes your struggles, your failures, and your triumphs in a totally new light. The source text kicks things off with this massive foundational principle. The spiritual realm was there first. Think about that for a second. Before the mountains existed, before the oceans were formed, before a single star filled the heavens, or humanity even walked the earth, there was an unseen reality. The physical world, it's actually not the ultimate original reality at all. Our source anchors this whole argument in this incredibly famous quote from Genesis. "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." This simple statement triggers a profound aha moment about cause and effect. The absolutely crucial point here is that the Creator existed before creation. The spiritual reality existed before physical reality. This means the physical world didn't somehow evolve into a spiritual realm. Rather, the spiritual realm actually gave birth to the physical world. The effect came from the cause. To put that into perspective, think about how literally everything physical begins as an invisible idea. Before a massive, sprawling skyscraper exists physically, where is it? It exists completely invisibly in the mind of an architect, hopefully along with a really solid engineering plan, right? Before a Fortune 500 company is built, it begins as just a vision in someone's head. Books, nations, art, they all start as formless thoughts. The invisible is constantly becoming visible. The physical world is really just a manifestation of realities that existed first in an unseen dimension. And the source texts repeatedly pull back the curtain to show us this exact dynamic in action. Take these biblical figures, for example. You have Daniel, who prayed on earth, but major spiritual activity was occurring completely beyond his sight. You have Elisha's servant, who was terrified by a physical enemy army, but when his spiritual eyes were opened, he saw the hills literally covered in invisible fiery chariots protecting them. Even Job's terrible physical suffering was driven by spiritual dimensions operating entirely behind the scenes. The visible world is rarely, if ever, the complete story. Now, let's shift our explainer from the macro universe right down to the micro level of our everyday lives. One of the clearest, most relatable examples of invisible influence is your own mind. Think about a single thought. You can't touch it. It has absolutely no physical weight, no color, no form whatsoever. Yet these totally invisible forces drive your behavior. They create your daily habits, and ultimately, they shape your entire physical destiny. And this brilliantly illustrates how this plays out in real life. Think about the stark contrast between two different mindsets. A person who internally, invisibly believes they are defeated is going to behave vastly differently in the physical world than someone who truly believes they have purpose. A person filled with unseen fear lives a totally different life than one filled with unseen faith. The battle is almost always won or lost internally before it ever becomes external. Words operate under that exact same principle. Throughout the source texts, words carry just tremendous significance. God created the universe through speech. Prophets declared sweeping messages, and Jesus spoke words that literally transformed lives. But think about it. Words themselves are completely invisible. You cannot hold a spoken word in the palm of your hand. Yet, they release highly visible realities. They can shape deep human emotions, build lasting relationships, completely destroy someone's confidence, create immense hope, or even incite the kind of fear that topples entire nations.
So, you might be wondering, how do we actually interact with this unseen realm? Well, the source highlights the operation of faith as a sort of bridge from the invisible to the visible. The text doesn't describe this as some kind of magic trick, but as a deliberate, structural bridge. It requires you to believe something is there before the physical evidence arrives, to deeply trust the process before your actual circumstances shift, and only then do you receive the physical outcome. It's all about unseen conviction producing a highly visible result. A really major theme in our source material is understanding exactly why the spirit realm holds so much more authority. And it boils down to this: the physical world is entirely temporary. I mean, think about it. Empires rise and fall. Massive buildings eventually crumble into dust. Wealth comes and goes in the blink of an eye. Everything physical eventually changes or it decays. But eternal spiritual realities, things like ultimate truth, God's nature, and his promises, those endure forever. The physical world absolutely matters, for sure, but it is not ultimate because the unseen will always outlast the seen. Because the unseen is just so powerful, the text shifts our focus to what it calls the invisible battlefield. It makes this incredibly bold claim. The greatest, most consequential battles in your life are fought internally, not physically. Victory in your life frequently begins in quiet, hidden places that absolutely nobody else can see.
Seriously, think about the internal battles we all face: fear, hopelessness, deception, pride, temptation, crushing discouragement. The text points out that so many people spend their entire lives exhausting themselves fighting visible, physical battles, like trying to earn more money or change their circumstances, while completely ignoring these hidden internal ones. But it's actually these unseen struggles that determine our external outcomes.
So, if the spirit realm influences the physical realm, it makes perfect logical sense that spiritual attacks specifically target the mind. The enemy targets your thoughts because the invisible battlefield is exactly where the visible results of a person's life are decided. Win the battle of the mind, and you win the physical outcome. It's really that simple.
Let's move to and see how this builds in a very practical step-by-step progression. It's like a chain reaction. It all starts with invisible thoughts. But those thoughts don't just sit harmlessly in your head, they directly influence your daily choices. Your choices dictate your physical actions, and those actions eventually determine your life's outcomes. It all tracks back to the beginning. If you can change a person's invisible thinking, you can completely change the physical direction of their entire life. All right, we are now arriving at the absolute core truth that ties all of these concepts together. The texts conclude that the ultimate reason the spirit realm controls the physical realm is simply this: God himself is spirit. He is the ultimate original reality standing behind all other realities. The unseen creator is the one standing directly behind the visible creation. As we look at the unseen creator's role, the source makes a really important distinction that we cannot miss. The goal here isn't just to be mysteriously fascinated by the spirit realm or to get obsessed with the supernatural. Not at all. It's about understanding the one who actually governs it. The unseen creator creates the physical world, sustains it, and governs it. When you understand the creator, you finally begin to understand reality itself. I love this analogy from the source material. Think of a massive fruit-bearing tree. Most people spend their entire lives focusing completely on the visible fruit above the surface, right? We focus on the money, the physical health, the visible successes, or the visible failures. But God teaches us to understand the roots. It is the hidden, entirely unseen roots deep beneath the ground that are actually sustaining the entire tree and producing that fruit in the first place. So as we wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with this really provocative question drawn straight from the text. What unseen roots are sustaining your life? Honestly, think about it. Are your roots grounded in temporary physical things that will eventually crumble and fade? Or are they planted deeply in enduring, unseen spiritual truths? It's a heavy question, but it's one that requires us to honestly reconsider our own foundations. Which brings us to our final, bold takeaway. The physical world might be what you interact with every single day, but the deepest, truest realities are always invisible. If this explainer helped you see the world just a little bit differently today, do me a favor, drop a comment below with this exact phrase: "The unseen shapes the seen." And hey, share these insights with someone you know who is hungry for a deeper understanding of reality. Thank you so much for joining me. Keep looking beyond the surface, and I'll see you in the next explainer.